Let's do it. Thanks for checking out this video. We're talking calendar spreads today. We're talking 4/7s. I have an old 4/7 from our Build a Backtest Portfolio class on Optional Mega Academy. The first thing we're going to do while I talk through this is update this through today. And the date that is in the Academy is from the middle of 2024. It was a 1.5 MAR. Not an amazing backtest, not a terrible backtest, but something that might be worth looking at and spending a minute refining. And as you can see, hasn't done great this year. It has not done great this year. I'm keeping the allocation the same as in the backtest just to make it easier to compare. So this is at an 8% on 100K allocation, and it's had a negative year. It's been tough. It's actually been in a drawdown since over a year ago. Yikes, not something I'm looking for in my trades, but let's take a look at this and see if we can do something with it. The first thing we should do is let's model this backtest. It's actually Monday afternoon when I'm making this video. This goes on a Monday afternoon, so that's kind of lucky. I didn't do that intentionally, but the first thing we're going to do is open the modeling tool, and we want to do 25 on the puts. So let's go ahead and we will do 67.60. It's going to be one of these two strikes depending on rounding. I'm not that worried about which exact one it is for this model. This is going to get us very close. And then the delta of 15 delta on the other side. And right now SPX is at 68.83, and we're going to do this one right here. Now we can jump to the Monday. And if we look, those same strikes are going to be highlighted in yellow that we already picked. It's almost like we did that intentionally. And now let's pull up a chart of this calendar. So as you can see, got a couple different things going. The IV of the shorts is higher than the IV of the longs. Interesting. And this is actually the DTE IV, but it's going to be representative. You can see them independently. And what happens is, you know, if you have the IV juice on the longs, that's ideal. If you have the IV juice on the shorts without juicing on the longs, it's less ideal. If both of them juice, that's fine too. You've also got delta movement here, right? You can see our profit tens. And if we just model this out without any change in the vol structure right now, we just model this out. It doesn't look terrible. Here's the thing with models though, with calendars, with time spreads. There are time spreads like this one. Actually, this is not a bad example of one that's like, man, no matter what happens, we're going to make money. False. There are some too that you can model and it looks like you'll never lose money. False, because calendars, time spreads are tricky things. You can have changes in the vol that just you don't expect, right? Like, who knows what's going to happen? I do not know what's going to happen, which is why it's really nice to use a combination of backtesting and modeling. And what I want to do today is look at some of the new features that we have in both the backtesting and the automation platform. We have some new short-long ratio toys to play with. If you look under exits, we now have a couple additional choices. We also have under entry, we've had this for a while, minimum short-long and maximum short-long entry and exits. And what's interesting is your short-long ratios are super helpful during time spreads, and they're simply the shorts divided by the longs. It's just a ratio. So let's try to use maybe one of these new ones, see if we can't make this backtest a little better. Just a reminder, right now we're grinding on this backtest because it's got a MAR of less than 1. Yuck. Again, always take in context your allocation and your starting capital. It's got a capture rate of 4.7%, not great in a backtest. It does have some Punisher on here. I think we can probably use this okay. The first thing we can do is let's look at the settings, and we've got both opening and closing short-long ratios checked. So let's filter this by losers, and let's look at these short-long ratios. So they're all looks like about in the 0.7 range. There's not very many in the 0.8 range. There are some though that are above 0.8. And I wonder if I'm just looking at, I like round numbers. I'm looking at them and saying you could probably microfit this and be 0.79 or like 0.77 and get like super specific. One might use a less flattering word for specific, but we'll just say super specific. Let's just try this. I think 0.8, let's try 0.8. Okay, this is going to take a minute to run. We'll try 0.8. I think 0.8 is going to be good from the standpoint that I'm guessing the win percentage will go up. It did. And the MAR went up and the capture rate all went up. Here's the problem. We only have 35 trades. So this is a higher probability setup. Let's take it down to 7.5 and see if it's still better. And that will maybe cut out a few of those low probability trades. We were under a MAR of 1 before, and there we go. Okay, so I kind of like this. So just by filtering it with a min short long ratio, what this is going to do is keep us out of some of these trades where there's not as much juice. Okay, and again, I'm sure we can microfit this. MAR of 1.1, this is okay. We still have a decent number of trades. So we went down to like 30 trades, and that was too few. But we did get the MAR up. And now we're going to try to find maybe a hopeful middle balance. The other thing, I can spend some time here grinding on exactly what short long ratio to use. Let's just leave it at 0.75. There may be a better one. And let's do this as well. Let's look under the exit conditions here. And let's do the short long ratio here. And there's two different things. Exit when the short long ratio is below something. That's been around for a while. Let's try one of the new ones. So what this is going to do is a different way of doing short long ratio. So when the short long ratio moves down a certain percent, we're going to exit. So let's do an easier. I think this is going to make it worse. I think it's going to make our backtest worse, but let's try it. 50%. This will allow us to understand how this new feature in Option Omega works. Again, available in both the backtesting and the automation platform, and actually made them more better. Okay, let's see. MAR slightly better, win rate slightly worse, premium capture rate slightly worse. The reason it's better is it did chop our drawdown by a notable percent. And here's the thing. You have more losers with the 50%, but they are smaller. And so the way this works, let's find some examples. And what we can do is we can sort by short long ratio move down. So what you're going to find a lot is at open on Friday, it's going to be below 0.5 and it'll get you out right at open because it's just crushed. And those are usually bad days. You can see these are all losers, right? We have it filtered by losers as well. I can take these off and filter. And if you look at the short long ratio move down at a 50%, it is going to be a lot of losers, right? And so what you're looking for is you're looking for these scenarios like, right, here's one where you're going to see the short long ratio get whacked by about half. Now, it might not be exactly half because it is using 1 minute data, but it's going to be like right there. There you go. Close enough for country. That was a cheap one back a year ago, wasn't it? A year and a half ago. That was a cheap one. So let's see. Do we want to try? I think we might want to try a bigger move down than 50%. That math kind of made it easier. One try maybe 75%. And let's see. Again, I'm not being super specific. Again, folks might use an alternate word for specific. I'm just trying to get some big round numbers and validate a concept. And we have a capture rate of 7.9% here. So the capture rate went down a little bit. I think this one here with just the min short long on entry is the best one. Now, this is still a better MAR. It's a lower capture rate than our initial one. Here is the initial one right here. And we were at a 4.7 capture rate. Yeah. And this one we just did is a 7.9 capture rate. Man, that is a nice jump in capture rate, a nice jump in MAR. You're not trading as much, so your setups are going to be a little higher probability. Let's just do a little bit more here. Let's let's go a little bit longer on the short long ratio. So 80%. So this is going to let the short long ratio cook a little bit more until you get to 80%. It's going to give you more time. It will possibly sag the tent a little bit more, but look at what it did to the MAR. The MAR is better, 1.3 MAR. Is that our highest MAR? It is our highest MAR. It is our highest MAR. Not our highest capture rate, but what is it doing? The drawdown. It cut the drawdown. There's a couple things you can do with this thing. Let's take the filter off, look at all of them. And, oh, here, listen, this is interesting. We're avoiding these bad setups. And now all the years of this are profitable, which is not true. Let's save this before I forget. I'll drop this in the box below. We're also, this has done a couple interesting things. We also hit our all-time high back in August. And look, we're like right there again. We're barely in a drawdown right now. Okay, so just a quick little video here showing you this new fancy short long ratio exit. So what have we done to our back test? We've modeled it. We've looked at it. We've seen how it's shaping up. We've got a min short long requirement, so we're being a little more exclusive on the entry. And we've got an exit, so we're being a little bit more paying attention to when it could tent sag. And now because it does go until Friday, you are going to see these times on Friday when the overnight moves you right into a tent sag exit. That's definitely going to happen. And you can see even with going to 80%, it's going to happen on these Fridays. So there's all these Friday exits. I'm highlighting it here. But I think overall we've made this back test more resilient. Look how smooth this curve is. Is that a curve that you would like? Yeah, it's a curve that you would like. I still don't love this MAR. This capture rate's decent. Your win rate is more than your loss rate, and your winners are bigger than your losers. You can have some pretty nasty max losers. The other thing I might do with this is I might bump up the excess slippage and the entry slippage another 5 cents to punish it a little bit harder. But I think we have something here now that's more workable than we were working with before, because we've got these rails here for the delta exits. We've got a short long exit to help with the tent sag. We're not taking every single opportunity, and we still do have a profit target and an early exit. One thing that, just because I want to practice what I preach, I usually try not to, as a matter of habit, exit at 2:30. That's because there's news at 2:30. It's typically on Wednesdays, so it shouldn't really move the needle on a Friday exit. But just because it's a good habit, I'm going to save this back test with a 2:29 exit. So we've got a look at these new features. We also checked out a model. If you're interested in learning more structures for different SPX option setups, or you need an options community, check us out. Optionomega.com. Backtesting, automation, monthly, annual, plenty of choices. Come on by.